Hey Brody, I'm starting to feel dangerous. Yeah, I'm feeling dangerous. Let's run it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Starting Two podcast. My name is Brody Minnick,
I'm Alex Desai.
and we're a couple boys excited to talk about some sports, maybe some movies. Maybe not today with music, but we always touch on different things. Who knows? We might get there because we are both professional yappers. Yeah, excited to get into that. So, Alex, go ahead and get us started with our first topic today.
Yeah, so traditionally we do some college football first, but it was a decent week in NFL football and a bit of a slower week in college football. So we'll start with somebody who wasn't feeling dangerous, and that's Mr. Dangerous Russell Wilson or Danger Russell Wilson,
Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
Unlimited diarrhea. Sorry, that was uncalled for. You seen that video?
No, I haven't. So that's a
You
little
haven't seen
awkward.
that video?
No, I can't say that I have.
Unlimited diarrhea. Unlimited.
All right, never mind.
Well, speaking of the dangerous part of him, not dangerous enough because Jackson Dart is now the starter after a piss poor performance on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. That was a miserable game to watch. Chiefs just played better. Not great, but better, and the Giants sputtered out quite a bit. Russell Wilson, during the red zone appearance towards the end of the game, threw some of the worst balls I've ever seen in my life. Nothing like a nice 2nd and 15, basically, quarterback draw. I don't know if that's on Russell or Brian Dable. I will opt to go with Brian Dable because Russell Wilson doesn't deserve all the hate. Um, but yeah, it was a miserable game. It was a miserable game to watch. Pat Mahomes kind of turned it back on a little bit, had a little bit going, but again, it's these checkdowns, it's these short routes. Run game wasn't really there. Um, but Chiefs get back in the win column, and Giants are headed another direction with Brian Daboll and Joe Shane trying to save their job probably.
Dayball needs to be fired. Simple as that. I don't think he's a good coach. He's had his time. I would be shocked to hear any New York fan, true New York Giants fan, that really doesn't see a problem with his coaching. It starts with coaching and it ends with coaching. So, like you said, Russell Wilson just didn't play well, and this is after a week where he looked like prime Russell Wilson, namely 400 yards, a couple tutties. So I don't know if it's like a Giants issue. I don't know if it's a Russell Wilson issue because he had some struggles last year with the Steelers, obviously. Once again, this is basically the third year in a row Russell Wilson has not had the offensive pieces around him, right? Even in Denver, like there were moments where it's like, okay, sweet. But then it was like, okay, it's also like this is not Russell Wilson that we're used to seeing. I think it comes with age. I think it comes with coaching. I think it comes with the different teams. He had a great setup in Seattle, one of the most sacked quarterbacks of all time. But he somehow, still was able to succeed in Seattle. That is not the case with Denver. That is not the case with the Steelers. And now that is not the case with the Giants. So I knew they signed him for like this vet presence, right, to start the time. Everybody knew Jackson Dart was going to come in, but we didn't know Jackson Dart was going to come in week 4. Which I'm not on board with. I like Jackson Dart. I think he's got some good prospects. I don't know if he was quite a first round talent on my board at the time, because I watched a lot of him at Ole Miss. I know that he has a really, some high upside moments, and I also know sort of where his ceiling leads to. So, toss up, I guess, and it's all determined on what it is, but Alex, you know how Kenny Pickett came up with the Steelers really forcefully, and I think it was forced. However, Mitch Trubisky, just not a good situation. Same thing with the Giants. So, it's just, I don't know. There's a reason Daniel Jones is 3-0 with the Colts right now. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback in the world, but I do think he is in a better system, and he is able to succeed more because he's not with the Giants. Same thing with Saquon. It happens. It happens, right? The Giants are used to it at this point. So moral of the story, I think Dable needs to be fired. I just don't think that the system and the coaching is what it needs to be, especially following Tom Coughlin. It's just like that's a legendary coach, right? It's been a revolving door, so you never know. But Chiefs, on the other hand, this is the third week we're talking about a lackluster offense, right? Starting to sound like I'm complaining about the Steelers here. And this is with one of the best quarterbacks in the league at quarterback, with his Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. I saw a video of Patrick Mahomes missing that really bad pass to Travis Kelce. It was literally just, a dump off right in front of him to the left, and it was like, downfall of Patrick Mahomes need to be studied. All right, let's not jump that far, but I do agree. It's a different Patrick Mahomes. It's a different offense. Do you think, Alex, the Chiefs can continue this through the season and make a strong run, not even for a championship, but for the playoffs, the way this is looking?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they can. You look at the offense, and it's definitely lackluster. It's not where it needs to be. A lot of people forget what this offense is capable of at with its full powers. Rashee Rice is a low-end wide receiver one, and Xavier Worthy we all thought would take the step to that wide receiver one status. So those guys will both come back. That offense will be fine. You'll get real speed. Not to say Tyquan Thornton isn't real speed, but he's got some drops issues. He dropped a couple passes over the last couple of weeks, and you'll get your offense back to where it needs to be. It'll set up the play action. Hopefully, the run game will be more efficient. Safeties will have to play a little higher, and the box won't be nearly as stacked to make the run so ineffective. You talked about the Giants and Brian Daboll. You think he should be fired? You, as a Steelers fan, have a specific perspective that you've seen Russell Wilson and you saw what he was capable of. I don't know exactly what the record was. I think it was 9-8, 10-7 last year.
Yeah, it was 10 wins.
And you look at you compare the two teams. You go, okay, well, the Steelers are known for their defense. The Steelers have this super stout, formidable defense, and not a lot of weapons on the outside for Russell Wilson. Obviously, George Pickens was the highlight of that wide receiver room for the Steelers at the time, and now he moves to the Giants, where Malik Neighbors is the highlight. Wan'Dale Robinson, to me, is a fantastic receiver. Him and Ladd McConkey, I feel like if Wan'Dale Robinson and Ladd McConkey switch teams, Wan'Dale Robinson would be able to mimic some of the things that McConkey's able to, and I think that's maybe a touch of an overstatement, but still. And then you look at the defense, where you go, okay, well, T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, this is where the Steelers really thrive, but on paper, the Giants' defensive line should be better. Kayvon Thibodeau, Sexy Dexy, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns. Those are four high-end defensive pass rushers.
Highly paid, too.
Highly paid as well, yeah. Kayvon Thibodeau is still on his rookie contract, I believe. Abdul Carter was just drafted out of Penn State, rather. They have him playing right outside linebacker, which is the stupidest decision ever. He played that as an underclassman at Penn State.
Why not give him the thing that he's good at, man?
Exactly. I mean, think about it. If you have four, maybe not elite, but just well above average pass rushers, I mean, you're looking at 6 sacks a game. But you can't do that. So, I mean, I look at Brian Daboll, I go, well, you saw what Tomlin was able to do with an eerily similar team, and he went 10-7. So you've got four losses left on the table, Mr. Daboll, Joe Shane, and we'll see what Jackson Dart can do.
Yeah, I really liked your point of bringing up like Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors. There was not a Steeler. You can argue with the wall. There was not a Steeler on the roster last year with as much skill in their left pinky as Malik Neighbors or Wan'Dale Robinson. That's how it is. George Pickens will never be that. There was a chance where I thought he could be that. He'll never be a complete wide receiver. I've talked a little bit about that before. Penalties and all, everything considered. You have Malik Neighbors. That's all I need to say. But then you also say you have Wan'Dale Robinson. Okay, now you have an offensive line they've been working on for like a decade straight. Okay, every single year. It's somebody they've drafted. It's somebody new they brought in. It's still not clicking. Obviously, Daniel Jones, we felt like he set him back, like in a time machine. Flash forward, you're still in the same spot, and Daniel Jones is 3-0. So at this point, I got to start pointing fingers at Daboll. I think at the time when he came in, everybody was excited, right? I think he had the right mindset. I'm not sure it's completely his fault, but I don't understand. It's kind of like Billy Napier at Florida. I don't understand how you can keep justifying the losses, right? How do you justify? There's no and if you're the person defending this, that's fine. You want to keep watching bad football? That's not up to me or you or anybody that's not, a general manager or whatever, whoever's making these shots. But you got to think about it. It's like, is it really worth it? Let me just here's some perspective for everybody questioning what coaches should, be fired. Obviously, we'll get to some other coaches. But here's something to think about. Ed Orgeron of LSU, right? Won a national championship in 2019. Bad year in 2020. What happens the next year? Ed Orgeron is fired from LSU. This is a coach that turned this program around from the Les Miles era that was kind of sinking. Then they brought him back up. National championship, one of the greatest CFB teams of all time. 2 years later, it's not up to LSU's excellence or like their par of good football. He's gone. So if that doesn't say anything, then I don't know what does. You have to make the change, right? If you're okay with losing, that's fine. Keep him. But if you are like, Alex knows this. If you want good football, it starts with coaching. And as a Steelers fan, Mike Tomlin is a phenomenal coach. He's had a phenomenal career. I'm not sure those things are working anymore for the Steelers. And I've always loved Tomlin, but it's a culture thing at this point. It's the same thing with Neil Brown at WVU. Sometimes you just need a change, a healthy start, and I think the Giants might be eyeing that. So,
you mentioned Mike Tomlin, you mentioned the Steelers. How about that Steelers defense this week against the New England Patriots up in Foxborough? They came to play, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They after 2 horrible showings, they really came up strong. And even in the moments where the Patriots are on the goal line, those moments where you're like, great, Drake May actually looks great. It's either a fumble, an interception, something goes wrong. And you know what? You might play that up to chance, but all I'm going to play it up to is good football. Okay? That's how football's played. Things happen. You get your hand on the ball, you get a punch in there, whatever you can do to make those happen. And, maybe too many yards. I still think the secondary is badly missing Minkah Fitzpatrick. And if you don't see that now, I don't know what to tell you. It's just not happening. There's nobody back there that Drake May is not looking back there and going, oh my gosh, there's 3-time All-Pro Minkah Fitzpatrick back there. Now he's saying there's Juan Thornhill and Brandon Eccles and guys that you've never really heard of. So you know what I'm saying. It's a difference maker, man. And once he's gone, you miss him. So, but I will say TJ Watt, 2 sacks on the game. Even though it's his first sack in 6 games, 6 or 7 games, he has been doing everything all season from run in the run game, tackles for loss, right? QB hurries. Cam Hayward looked back to form finally. Might have just given him a couple games to get going as he missed a bunch of training camp. And then Alex Highsmith was out with an injury, and mini TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, came in and took care of some business. So, I think everything looks really good. I'm a little worried about Patrick Queen personally. I really like Patrick Queen, obviously LSU grad, now on the national championship squad. He's got such great skills, right? Like a motor. But number one, we're not using him to go after the running back as much. We're putting him in pass coverage. He's not a pass coverage linebacker. He's not Fred Warner, okay? So I just think the Steelers, Terrell Austin, the Steelers defensive coordinator, still got some stuff to move around. And I think it's okay to move things around. That's what, the Steelers don't understand. Something's not working, change it, Now, I don't recommend going the WVU route and trying 3 different quarterbacks in a game.
Yeah.
But I do recommend, if something's not working, change the game plan, man. Make whatever your players are good at doing, let them do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you were talking about Patrick Queen, formerly a Baltimore Raven. He came out of LSU. Looked like the Ravens might have needed him this past week.
Yeah, I do think so. Patrick Queen, people are very heavy to judge and be like, well, the only reason he was good on the Ravens is because of Roquan Smith. Not true. He's a good football player. He is. He's a tackling machine. His problem is he overruns things. He's very fast for his position, but he overruns things, which causes missed tackles, whatever, wrong holes to go through. So he just needs that other punch, right? Roquan Smith, I think Roquan Smith equally needs Patrick Queen. Roquan Smith, this has not been the same since Patrick Queen has left, right? Roquan came in and is like, people are like, the next Ray Lewis. Nice joke. And then, now Patrick Queen is gone, and it's like, okay, the defense of the Ravens are just falling apart. I don't know. But they're still one of the best teams in the NFL, which is scary. So, yeah, end of story. It's just like, I don't know. People too hard to judge on, like, this player. It's a team sport. You got to have everybody there. You got to have everybody doing their job. And that's something I think the Steelers really tried to do this week. Even when the offense was completely stalling. And I personally think this is one of the worst games I've ever seen Aaron Rodgers play. Wild misses everywhere on the field. Jalen Warren's trying his best, man. I don't know. There's a lot of factors, but you know what? A win is a win, Alex, just like you said.
Yeah. Uh, we're going to touch on the Ravens too while we're here, talking about Patrick Queen. Um, yeah, Ravens defense might be terrible. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
might
know
be
if
cooked.
that's a shocker to anybody or a news flash, but um, while me and Brody have been fans of the NFL, Brody especially because he's an AFC North guy, we have not seen the Ravens defense be lackluster whatsoever. They've always been stout. They've always been strong, physical, very tight coverage, always putting pressure on the opposing offense. And the Lions ran all over them, physically, literally and physically. I mean, they ran all over them. David Montgomery had 130 something yards. Jameer Gibbs had 100 yards, 4 touchdowns between the two, the Sonic and Knuckles pairing. Jared Goff played well. Amon-Ra St. Brown put the Ravens in some awkward spots here and there, caught a touchdown himself. Throughout that entire game, I watched the entire thing. I had no doubt that the Ravens were going to still figure it out somehow. And then that fumble happened again, and it's eerily similar to week one. And Derrick Henry goes to the sideline, he throws his helmet, rightfully so. I mean, he's upset. He's a frustrated guy. He's a professional, and he's a professional at the top of his game as well. And you look and you go, these little moments kind of beat down on the Ravens. You know, if the defense doesn't play well, the offense is always going to play well. But if the defense doesn't play well and these little moments happen, it's almost like you drag the Ravens into blood infested waters, they're not going to be able to get out. And it's frustrating. I look at the Lions. I don't think of the Lions as a good defense. No offense to them. I mean, Aaron Glenn was the right personality for that defense last year. That's why he got a job with the New York Jets this past offseason. But yardage-wise, they were never good. Points-wise, they were never good. But they had a blue-collar mentality. This past game, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck were talking about how Lamar doesn't throw the ball away, at least in the NFL, 0.7 throwaways a game. And I think that really ate him. I think he was trying to play Superman this entire time after the Derrick Henry fumble. How many sacks did the Ravens let up? Quite a bit.
Yeah, wasn't 7?
I think it ended up being 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't, dude. End of the podcast. Sorry, guys, we're done. Hope you enjoyed that one. Hey, I want to touch on the 7 sacks, whatever happened. So, I was talking to one of my friends the other day, who's a Ravens fan. You have Lamar Jackson, the best scrambler in the league, bar none. The best scrambler. Just dude can run everywhere. He runs everywhere, still makes a play. You know it's bad when you have the best scrambler in the league, and he still gets sacked 7 times. So that means he's already scrambling, right? So you already don't want him to do that, but he's already scrambling. And on top of that, his scrambling isn't even working, right? So it's like the second level of blocking. Nothing is happening. This is great as a Steelers fan, but it's also like, as a football fan, I'm like, what's happening, you know? And then on top of that, you got Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey. You got guys that are names, man. They got big names. This Ravens defense has a lot of names on it. It's very similar to the Steelers. They're just not playing up to par, right? And you're like, I'm not really sure what it is, but something is missing. You know, you have Wiggins out on the edge that they just drafted a year ago. I'm telling you, man, this Ravens defense. You sign Jair Alexander. Now I know why he was let go. And for cheap, you know, so it's just one of those things where you're not showing up. So you just gotta look at the pieces and say what's wrong, man. The puzzle's not fitting. But I mean, props to Lamar and Derrick Henry. It's weird. He has 3 fumbles already in this season, and he had 3 all of last season. So he's beating himself up over it. Dude's a tough worker. He's a tank. But yeah, I love to see it as a Steelers fan. So I'm happy with it.
well, while we're on the topic of top running back, let's go over to the Cowboys, his old stomping grounds, and we're gonna bring you a new segment. And Brody does not know about this segment because I just made it up in my head, and it's called
Off the dome.
It's called Do They Suck? That's the name of the segment. Brody, do the Cowboys suck?
The Cowboys always suck. Yes, they do suck. Yep.
I'm afraid so. That was a lackluster performance from them. That defense is Swiss cheese. I mean, it is just, I don't know who said it however many years ago. It's our immigration policy. Just let everybody in. Just let them all in.
I think his name's John Christ. He did the you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. It's Oprah over here.
I don't think Caleb Williams is a bad quarterback by any means, okay? But Mr. holds the ball all day long. did not have any troubles, okay? 320 yards, 4 touchdown passes should never happen. I mean, that just should not happen. If you're a good team, if you're a strong team, you shouldn't give up 320 yards and 4 touchdowns to a sophomore quarterback. That's very piss poor. That flea flicker that the Bears tried to run, if anybody isn't familiar, happened in the first half. It was Caleb Williams to Luther Burden, really long play. The running back that play up so bad by tossing the ball over the Leprechaun's rainbow, and I had to sit in Caleb Williams' lap waiting for the ball to get there because it was in the air for so long. Okay? Caleb Williams should have been sacked for 15 yards, but he wasn't because Cowboys' pass rush is non-existent. Wonder what would have helped that. I don't know.
Meanwhile, Luther Burden's
Luther Burden is 65 yards downfield.
Yeah.
And it's like just dropping a cupcake in his hands. And a nice touchdown pass for them. Yeah, Cowboys suck. Cowboys are terrible. I know I asked you. I'm going to answer for myself as well. Cowboys are dog. We talked about George Pickens not being that wide receiver one. We're going to find out here because CeeDee Lamb's hurt. We don't ever wish injuries on anybody. We always wish for speedy recoveries and good health for all of our players. We try not to bash players too much, but with CeeDee Lamb being out, George Pickens is going to have to step in. And I personally don't think George Pickens is nearly as bad as Brody does, but Brody's a bitter Steelers fan. No offense, bud. You know I love you, but
no, I am 100%.
We're gonna find out how good George Pickens is, and we're gonna find out if he deserves the contract money that he wants at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Hey, while we're on this segment, I'll get my do they suck moment here. Let's talk about it. Do they suck? Marvin Harrison Jr. dropping crucial passes. Now, I'll go ahead and answer this. No, he doesn't suck. Marvin Harrison Jr. Is elite talent, but holy moly, dude. So, I didn't get to watch the Cardinals game, so I'm watching highlights. I'm scanning through stuff. And I hear people talking about Marvin Harrison Jr.'s drops. And I hear I see Instagram posts that are just bashing Marvin Harrison Jr. There's, one of him that he's apologizing and feels, obviously he's really upset with the drops. I'm like, people drop balls. Can't happen, right? Whatever. It's normal. Boing, Google eyes. Did you see some of those?
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh, dude. One of them is, and once again, phenomenal player, but like, whoa, he's alone. It's one of those completely broken away. No one is on Marvin Harrison Jr. It's Kyler throws up a little lucky charm in the air. It comes down right in the midst, and right as he catches it, he turns the run. He's turning before he catches it, which is a common problem with all receivers. Drops it. And you could just tell he wanted to just instantly float away in that moment. Tough break, man. He's literally a sophomore in his NFL career. He's fine. Is he as good as Malik Neighbors? No, just like in college. But I don't know. Arizona's got to figure it out. You have James Conner out for the season. James Conner's a dog. Everyone loves James Conner. A really hard worker. He's dealt with those injuries problems in the past. I think this is going to affect him in a big way. He's a big part of their offense. Here we are sitting on another year of Kyler Murray, man. So
we're gonna see how loyal our fan base is, because I know 3 watchers, okay, are in my fantasy football league. If anybody made it this far, go pick up Trey Benson and drop a text and say that the Starting 2 podcast told you to go pick up Trey Benson off the fantasy football wire, because he's the starting running back over James Conner now because he's hurt. And
Florida State legend, by the way. Florida State legend. And
I will give you a day after the day this comes out to go do it. And if you don't, I'm going to go pick him up, even though I don't need him because I'm him. What's it called? I apologize for not seeing the drops for Marvin Harrison, but it's the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, who gives a They suck. I don't think I've ever cared about an Arizona Cardinals game since the NFC divisional Cardinals versus Packers a couple years back. Jeff Janis, how about that for a name? That's that. We'll speak about some young quarterbacks again here, and this could easily go in the do they suck area. CJ Stroud, he struggled again against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I think are better than people are letting on, but I still don't think they're that good. I feel like everybody thought this division was a runaway for the Texans because it has been for the past couple of years, and CJ Stroud overcame his sophomore season slump, and the third year's really where these guys kind of take off. CJ Stroud has not taken off. He's actually inverted into the ground, and he's with the mole man in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, good movie by the way. So CJ Stroud. So CJ Stroud. Where do I start? I think he's a great football player. I think we all saw his potential first year. But I think the hype train took off without making some stops first. And those stops are the prove it stops, right? The games where you once again, you prove it, right? The problem is, they've had injuries at wide receivers. Poor Tank Dell, going through some shifts in momentum. The offensive line is garbage, But that's the thing that's recurring with every team, right? Do we really need to say it over and over as an excuse? Do we need to say it as an excuse? No. So I think CJ Stroud just has to play better. He's not seeing the field as well as he did 2 years ago. Since his big bro moment with Caleb Williams has better stats in all categories as far as less interceptions, more touchdowns, more yards. So, unfortunate for CJ Stroud, but I think the tools are all there. I think he's a phenomenal talent. He's shown what he can do. So I think it's up to him to decide his future.
Yeah, he's bad.
I don't think. Okay, look, little debate here. I don't think CJ Stroud is bad. I think a bad quarterback is what I'm watching every Sunday with the Steelers. Just kidding. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's not playing at that level. And it's also everybody around him. I don't think CJ Stroud right now has it figured out. If he does figure it out, he's dangerous. We all know that. But do you know the problem? Like, can you point out a specific problem, or is it something he genuinely has to fix on his own?
Yeah, so something you just said there is super telling. If he does figure it out. Okay, this isn't the year to be figuring it out. It's a marvel and it's super impressive and my dad's gonna be mad. A testament to how well CJ Stroud played as a freshman or as a rookie. That he was able to do all of these things without having to figure it out first year, just going out and be able to play freely, with poise and under the right direction and knowing what he wants to do and knowing what he needs to do. And now all of a sudden it doesn't feel like he can do that. Now you look at his rookie year and you go, well, you have Nico Collins and Tank Dell. He doesn't have them both now. Well, Nico Collins wasn't Nico Collins then, okay? That's just the truth. So you're supposed to have all this time to develop. You've seen all these defenses, you've seen these coverages. Oh, they're in a 3-4, we're doing Tampa 2, we get 2 high safety. We're reading the strong safety in this spot here. Okay? Oh, he's coming down, he's crashing down. I'm gonna can, and it doesn't feel like he's processing at the rate of the game clock.
I agree.
There's a clip from season 2 of Quarterback on Netflix, and it'll explain all of this if you guys any viewers decide that they want to watch this. There's so much that you need to do in those 20 seconds before you have to snap the ball, because the game clock starts at 40 after the end of a play. You need to huddle up, you need to call your play, you need to call your second play. So and sometimes in other cases a third play. And the quarterback needs to look at the clock. They need to read the defense. They need to align everybody. They need to make sure everybody's in play. Or what's it called when the players do this? Help me out here, Brody.
What do you
remember when the Lions guy didn't?
Ineligible.
Yes, they need to.
Ineligible.
They need to make sure they're eligible players. And then they need to read the defense. All right, what's the strong safety doing? If anybody, by the way, wants to understand football a lot better, watch the strong safety. And I'm not saying by any means I'm the cream of the crop. Maybe I'm Brian Dable.
Yes, sir.
But if you watch the strong safety, you'll get a lot of knowledge out of that. It doesn't feel like he's reading everything as cleanly as he should, and then he's often panicking. Alert! Can. Which means it depends on what the quarterback wants to do. Which means switch to the second play. And oftentimes, I don't know if you're watching this, the second play doesn't do well. So I'd like to see him have a little more poise. He's ripping the ball comfortably, but he's not understanding the coverages, I think. And that's a big issue for me. And yeah, it's kind of a sad step back for him. I don't know if he's quite the player we thought he would be at this point. And I'm not saying, am I saying he's bad? Maybe. I don't really know yet. We need more time to understand that. But at this rate, at the point that he started at in his rookie year, okay, we expected him to be a top 5 quarterback in football. I don't know exactly what you thought, Brody, but Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson. After his rookie year, you're looking at Stroud easily fits into 5.
Well, I'm gonna say two things. One of them, I totally agree with you. I think part of it is, um, you want to say, okay, he's still got the talent. We all know that. He's still a great quarterback. He can still sling the ball. He can do all this. But it's like he's not living up to expectations. And the sad part about it, it's not expectations anymore. He set the bar already. The bar has been set. I'm not expecting him to be good now. I like it. He does not have anywhere to go, right? It's the same with Jaden Daniels. Imagine Jaden Daniels the next 2-3 years sucks. You're like, what? What happened, right? Jaden Daniels comes in just like CJ Stroud. You set the bar. That's the standard, man. That's not the expectation. I'm not expecting you to get there. Expectations for me leave room for error. It's like, well, I'm expecting you to be here, but if it's below that, it's okay. No, it's like that's the standard, man, and that's like nothing below that. So that's a good way to put it. Is he still has all the time in the world to figure it out, but it's like it is a costly third season. They're already down 0-3. It's time to figure it out. And then I will say on the other thing you said, I knew it was over for CJ Stroud when he named himself top 5 quarterbacks in the league after rookie. I knew it was over. Anybody who does that, I know you got to be confident in yourself. You got to be proud of yourself. Come on, let's get real. Get real, Kevin. Because when you feel like a dirtbag, you're probably a dirtbag. Over the hedge reference for everybody listening out there. You can't do that. You can't. That's like me. Like, okay, I'm a drummer. All right, guys, I finally played on a really popular country track, a really popular pop track. Right, go listen to my drums on this. Yeah, I'm probably top 5. Sorry. It's like a billion people that have done exactly what I just did.
Yeah, Brody, we're probably up there with Joe Rogan right now. Top 5 podcasters.
Honestly, top 5 podcast, and we're not 5 through 2. So I don't know. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. So hey, let's go ahead and move on. A lot of good NFL talk. What else you got for us?
Let's touch on the game of the week.
Hey, what's up? Okay, sorry. I've been running back and forth. There's a plumber that came over to my house, been the man of the house, been taking care of some duties. So, Alex, let's go ahead and finish up with the game of the week for the NFL category, huh?
Yeah, Eagles-Rams. I lost money that game, unfortunately. However, while the Rams did sell me my coin, I made $37. And do you know why I made $37, Brody?
Where did you hear about all this stuff that helped you win $37?
Just the Starting Two podcast. I'm saying I didn't watch the Starting Two podcast 2 weeks ago, and I lost money, and I won money this past week, and I watched it. So I'm not saying there might be the sample size is small. The correlation is present though, and so I'm not saying gamble wisely, spend responsibly, but it's looking good here.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear, man. That's hats off to you. So, yeah, give me a rundown of the game, man.
Yeah, again, I did bet on the Rams. Everything in the first half that happened, I thought was going to happen. I think the Rams are a far better team than the Eagles. The Eagles offense makes me want to kill myself. It is so boring.
False start. Every tush push.
I know. And it's just like, I can't watch this. I just get nauseous watching it. I'm like, this sucks. And it doesn't help that I have A.J. Brown, who finally showed up because the offensive coordinator decided to stop calling the same 6 plays over and over again.
Wait, so they didn't run just the tush push?
Oh, there was a curl every now and then they'd occasionally throw a go route. It was about like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, but in the second half, they decided that they needed to, try. And the offensive coordinator needed to coach for his life because he wouldn't have made it out of Philly if they lost that game. And they won because Jordan Davis has the mitts of a polar bear, and that's the reason they won. The Rams deserve to win that game. I still believe the Rams are the better team. It's similar to Week 1, even though this probably doesn't reign true now, where I think that the Ravens were the better team even though the Bills beat them. I think the Rams are the better team even though the Eagles beat them. But clearly the Ravens suck too because they keep fumbling and they keep losing and making me look stupid.
They are beating themselves at their own game.
Mm-hmm.
I think poor Rams, man, almost had it. Kyron Williams, big game. Kind of been waiting on that. Matt Stafford still slinging it, man, at his age. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, take notes. I don't know. I think the Rams they're a good team, man. You know, they remind me a lot of the Bucks. Those are two teams that you got the veteran quarterback. I know Matt Stafford's a lot older than Baker Mayfield, but these two guys that are really trying to showcase their abilities, right? They're both proving something. Matt Stafford wants another ring. I'm sure of it, right? He played a lot of bad years for the Lions, and one ring isn't going to do him justice. He needs a second ring, man. Baker Mayfield, obviously, we talked about it. Been through so much. Now is leading game-winning drives, looking like a boss. Two very similar teams. I really want to see them go head-to-head. I'm excited for that. I don't know. Two very similar teams, but unfortunately, the Rams just could not get past. As we talked about it, basically the Georgia defense from years 2020 to 2023. So yeah, I don't know. Good win for the Eagles. Really good win. But like you said, there's some teams in the NFL that just the other team that might be losing looks better. I don't know. Only time will tell. When we get to more conference play, I think more division play, I think that's going to really show some true colors there.
And before we get to college football, Eagles-Rams will be the last major game that we touch on. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown, do my best boomer, just best 3 minutes impersonation. The Colts are a real team.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan Taylor's
a baller. Daniel Jones is doing enough. They win 41-20 against Cam Ward and the Titans. Granted, I think Cam Ward is greatly overhyped. He should not have been the number one pick, but that's just me. The Packers go down against the Browns. That's a tough one for me. Also had a lot of coin on that. Jordan Love does not care about my bank account.
Brownies don't care. The Brownies do not. Dog pound. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
Dumb mascot, dumb name, dumb helmet, dumb colors. Sorry, Zach, my friend Zach, diehard Browns fan. Get over it. Sorry.
It's kind of crazy that the Rams and the Packers both lost me money on blocked kicks.
Yeah, how about that? After the Browns have gone through kick issues already this season.
Yeah, but Browns, they survive. That's AFC North football. They've just squeaked some out every now and then. The Vikings absolutely annihilated the Bengals. That's a tough one for the Bengals, but they'll get back in the drawing room. Jake Browning needs to figure out how to protect the ball a touch better. So does the rest of that offense. Jamar Chase needs to hold the ball a little tighter. Rodgers, the cornerback for the Vikings, 2 forced fumbles, 1 recovered for a touchdown, 1 pick six, played lights out. I believe all of us in 1 half, by the way.
Crazy.
Vikings should be fine. I think Carson Wentz will be able to lead the helm. That defense is legit under Brian Flores. Brian Flores, formerly of Pittsburgh, formerly of Miami, where he had a really tough time in Miami, is a phenomenal defensive-minded coach, who will likely be getting calls to become a head coach again next year. And we're going to end on, sorry if I'm cutting you off.
No, you're good.
We're going to end with the Panthers. We allow Brody to speak about his fandom because his team is competitive. I don't speak about my fandom because I don't want to be depressed on this episode. But the Panthers, dog pound, 30-0. Michael Penix could not get it done against Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Defense played off the charts. Teteroa McMillan, 3 receptions, 48 yards. Didn't have a lot of receptions in the second half or maybe any at all.
Yeah. This is a rough look for the Falcons, man.
And then lastly, I'm not going to touch on the 49ers-Cardinals game because Marvin Harrison's drops should be enough to cover that game. But Mac Jones played well. We're going to talk about the Seahawks and the Saints. Sam Darnold's good. He's actually just a good quarterback. I don't know how long it took for all of us to realize that. Probably took me about till now. But Jackson Smith and Jigba, by the end of the year, will probably be a top 5 wide receiver in the league if he's not already. Sam Darnold knows how to string that, throw the rock. As long as Tariq Woolen knows how to play defense, I think the Seahawks are a playoff team. And Tariq Woolen has the potential to be the best cornerback in football because he's the fastest cornerback, he's the tallest cornerback, and unfortunately he's just got the hips of like a hippopotamus or like a penguin. I mean, it's just yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe he went from one of the most beloved, underrated cornerbacks to now people are calling for his head, which is crazy. As a non-Seahawks fan coming into the season, man, some of these fans are calling for his head. So you guys are watching the game too. So I don't know. I know against the Steelers there were a couple penalties. So yeah, great cornerback though, and I think as long as the tools are there, Dude, we saw what Sam Darnold could do at New York. Some of these throws he's making, no look, on the run, crazy things. It's, once again, the Jets. I don't know, but he does look good, so I'll give it to him.
All right, let's get over to some college football here. You mind if I start us off here?
Go ahead, man.
This is a bittersweet moment for me right now. I don't know if Brody knows where I'm going right here,
I know exactly where you're going.
but I'm a man. And as men from the ACC, it's a real tough go sometimes. But after what I said about Clemson last week, it's a great day. It's a great day. They're officially gone. They're officially done. Dabo Swinney, get the out of South Carolina. You are finished. You're finished. Syracuse should not have won that game. But guess what they did? It's a tough go around for the old Tigers in Death Valley. That's the fake Death Valley. Yeah, let's hear what you got to say, bud. Clemson, Syracuse.
All I have to say is life like this sure is sweet, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dap, dap, da, 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 da. Nothing is better than our takes and our opinions being absolutely true. There's not one person that watches this show that could ever say anything against our opinion on Clemson this year. Sorry, go cry about it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a Clemson fan, either is Alex. We talked about it. Tough game week 1, right? Top 5 ranked team, LSU. They didn't look terrible. It was just like, okay, the offense looked lackluster, right? Then you start struggling. Then it starts paddling. You get to Troy. You get to these losses, Georgia Tech. Syracuse, their mascot is an orange. It's an orange ball. And you lost to Syracuse. Oh, man. It's got to be tough to be a Clemson Tigers fan. And the more nonchalant Dabo Swinney acts, the worse it gets. It's not helping you, man. You got to make the change. You got to come out. You got to be fiery. We don't want to sip. I feel like every conference I see him do, press conference, he's got some sort of dumb thing that's like an excuse or almost like a smirk on his face. I'm sorry. Yeah, you have 10 wins seasons, 11 win seasons, whatever, out of like 10. You have multiple conference championships. I think it's 8 out of the last 10. That doesn't excuse it, man. It's the same as we talked about, Alex, with expectation, right? I don't expect Dabo Swinney to get to the college playoff. They are in the playoff every year. Like, they're usually always there. I'm not expecting it. That's the standard, right? There's no expectations for anything on Clemson. It should always just be like, well, here's Clemson again, once again in the playoff, whatever. It's that whole Patrick Mahomes thing, the Eagles thing, the Chiefs thing. It's annoying. Every single year, it's the same thing, right? Alabama, Georgia. Guess who's fallen off now? Worse than Alabama. Way worse. Clemson. So, sorry, guys. We all know the real Death Valley's in LSU. I don't know who didn't know that. Hate to break it to you. We all knew that. So, I don't know. Do you think he's gone? Do you think it's time for him to go? Do you think, wait. Do you think they will fire him?
No. Those press conferences are bad, by the way. Here.
Really?
Let's here. I'll be Swinney here. Give me a question.
So, Dabo, I'm going to go ahead and just be bold here and say your offense didn't really show up today. What do you think is the cause? Is there something that you can do to maybe help that?
Well, Mrs. Swinney hasn't been giving me the business at home, and I just come to work a little uninspired, and it's really hurt the football team. So this one's on me. Maybe on Mrs. Swinney a little bit more than me, but it's a tough go round. But we'll get over it. I expect to go home and you get.
Ain't no way you finishing that. This is where the cameras get cut on the conference and he gets fired mid spotlight.
Yeah.
That was a good impersonation though. Yeah, and the little smirk that he has the whole time, like it's funny. Look, once again, I've expressed my admiration for him as a coach, as a person. Sorry, man. It's I talked about it. Ed Orgeron, 2 seasons he's out. You look at it, it's just not Clemson football. And it's more, look, it'd be more if it was like, okay, bad season, right? We get it. It's the recruiting now. Now you're really starting to hurt yourself. Now you're going to West Virginia territory where we can't recruit anything. Now you're getting into it's like no one wants to go to Clemson now because you're effing losing, dude. You're losing, and you promote the fact that NIL is bad and that you don't want to, use the transfer portal. I don't know, man. As a top tier program, can't do it. So they've got some stuff to figure out. But boom, next topic. Boom, roasted.
So yeah, we talked about what was once a good program. How about what could be the new program? How about Indiana? Indiana beating
Wow.
up on Illinois.
So I thought Indiana. Two things. I thought Indiana last year was a good team. Phenomenal coach. I knew that they were going to come in, really hard hitting, but they didn't have the quarterback, right? What was it, Rourke? They just didn't have. They didn't have the quarterback. They didn't have all the pieces to make it, but they fought hard, right? We saw that all season. So this season, I'm like, yeah, they're going to make that jump, right? I knew they were going to be better. New quarterback. His brother's actually the backup quarterback, which is really cool. But I did not expect an absolute spanking with Illinois. And number two, why was Illinois ranked number 9? The heck if I know. That should have never happened in the first place. Anybody else could see that. You look at comments on these polls they're always dropping on Instagram, Facebook. I'm always finding a comment with a bunch of likes that says, why is Illinois in the top 10? Me too, partner. Maybe I commented it. I don't know. Once again, here I am talking about rankings. Here I'll do the Brian Kelly. We're sitting here once again talking about the same things when he lost to Florida State. So once again, don't trust the rankings, man. Never trust the rankings. And this is why, as a West Virginia fan, as an LSU fan, when they do get those chances to be ranked in basketball, baseball, football, right, stuff like that, I'm okay not being ranked high, right? Because you know what? It's only more stakes when you lose. So, they got to figure it out. But Illinois, sorry, back of the line. They're still in the top 25. But Indiana, man, they jumped. And I think they're number 11 now, and deservedly so. But let me ask your opinion. How big of a win this is this? How big of a win is this? But also taking into account that was Illinois not that good. However, they still put, 50, 60 on them?
66, it was a 50-point win.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. So, your opinion?
So last week and the weeks prior, we talked about how stupid the college football ranking system is. This is another perfect example of it. Kurt Cignetti, who's the head coach of Indiana,
Dog.
we talked about press conferences when he got hired at Indiana.
Can I ask me the question? I'll answer it.
How do you think you're going to transition here when you go into Indiana football and Big Ten football?
Look me up. I win.
And that's exactly what he said. That's Kurt Cignetti's first press conference as when he became head coach at Indiana. And he got there and he did. He did what he said he'd do. Changed the culture around, led them to a phenomenal season last year. And then all of a sudden this year, they're undefeated right now and they're 19, which means they probably started either towards the end of the top 25 or not even in it, which is completely beyond me and Brody. And Brody and I despise the college ranking system. Okay? And so is Indiana's win over Illinois impressive and deserves to be a huge bump for them? Absolutely. But the reason they deserve the giant bump is because they should have been higher in the first place. I don't know how good Illinois is. I don't think anybody does, because Illinois has, respectfully, never been good. They're a basketball school. It's back to Ayo Samu and a couple of these guys that took them to the, hopefully, Final Four. I don't know 100%.
Something. Really good teams.
But it's another conversation where you and I are talking about rankings rather than how good Indiana is as a football team. We'll obviously give them their flowers, say, hey, yeah, they deserve to be up at the top of the rankings. They deserve to get the big bump that they're going to get and that they did get. But realistically, they should have already been there anyways. So that's kind of my thought process. But Kurt Cignetti gets those boys to rally, and they play well for him.
Yeah, quick disclaimer. I think no matter who it is, I don't care who it is, when you beat a Power 4, Power 5 program by 50, 40, whatever, 40 plus, even 30. My lord, dude, that's impressive. There's some teams that don't even, Georgia couldn't even put, a 30-point lead on Austin Peay. So LSU's, we talked about it. LSU's had those moments when you put up, 60 on a Division I, top tier program. I don't care who it is, right? It's a Power 5 school. Impressive. Just like Oklahoma State getting bashed by Oregon. Impressive. No matter how bad Oklahoma State is declining, Oregon. Wow. That bad of a score on Oklahoma State's a good program too. And while we're here, why don't we go ahead and talk about it, Alex?
Mike Gundy, get him out of here.
Yes, man. I didn't realize it. 21 seasons.
Yeah.
As Oklahoma State's head coach.
Yeah, the mullet is officially dead. Oklahoma State parts ways with Mike Gundy. They fire the guy. Well, when you talk to Oregon and Dan Lanning about NIL, that's a good little ringtone right there, by the way.
Hey, we're going to change our starting to theme song to that. So, listen for next time.
Never mind. I'll talk to you about it after. Cut that out, by the way. Yeah, well, when you talk shit to Oregon and then you get stomped by 66, and realistically, for a Power 5 program or Power 4 program now, which is so stupid to say, you really shouldn't get beaten by 70 to any other Power 4 program. Realistically, I mean. And Oregon just beat the dog out of them, just beat the brakes off them. And then they lose to a non-Power 4 program, and you go, and we'll do another installation. Does Oklahoma State suck? And apparently they did, so they fired Mike Gundy, and I mean, tough riding, kid. Happy trails.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said. I agree on everything. I'll just add one thing. What a career for Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. Great coach. Some really good seasons, 10-win seasons, 11-win seasons, pushes for playoffs. I think he's got like a 12-6 bowl record over his 21 seasons, which is phenomenal. He's like 170-90 in his career. Great record. Some of those losses coming last year. It's been a steady decline since, I'll say, like 2023, 2022. Question marks were raised last year. You have Ollie Gordon, Doak Walker, running back award recipient, coming back. Horrible year. Offense looks bad. I don't know. A lot of question marks remained. And then there was these questions of like, is Gundy, like, does he even care anymore? Because you see him taking pictures with fans. He seems like a really cool guy. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, pretty controversial coach. But he's good for the sport of football. He is. Everybody loves, some Mike Gundy, whether it's saying stupid things in a press conference, whatever. But, yeah, sad to see him go. It's the whole recruiting efforts thing we talk about. It's the change of culture. They need a shock, man. They need something different. So Gundy will get a coaching job somewhere else, and he'll be just fine. But a new look for Oklahoma State. Probably won't change this season, but obviously next season they're going to look to rebound.
And obviously, me and Brody are always trying to keep it a little funny and all that kind of stuff. But we, as a couple Big 12 guys, want to tip our caps to him. We are both big fans of electric offenses in college football, and he was really the epitome of that. You think about Brandon Whedon and Marquise Lee, and these top tier offenses that made me love college football. I remember when I was a kid, I loved watching Oklahoma State play. I loved watching Texas Tech play, and Mike Gundy was at the helm of those teams. Mason Rudolph,
James Washington.
But I mean, he led a handful of really, really strong offenses that kept those who loved Big 12 offense, kept them in the game a little bit longer. So, well, props to him. Congrats on a great career, and if you want another job, I'm sure you'll get it, partner. So
tough, yeah. What's next?
We talk about Gundy getting fired. We'll do how about Oklahoma Auburn? Jackson
what
Arnold,
a game.
Jackson Arnold, former Oklahoma quarterback, transferred to Auburn this past year, comes back to his old stomping grounds, and quite literally gets stomped on 10 times for sacks. 10 sacks. I don't think people realize how impressive 10 sacks is. There's only a handful of games like that a year. And he just got the dog shit beaten out of him. So Oklahoma did end up winning that game, but it's an impressive story.
Great game, number one. Both teams played really well, minus the offensive line. I don't think they showed up. I think it was literally Jackson Arnold in the backfield by himself with a running back.
Dead or alive.
Dead or alive. That one play that the Colts did
Oh,
where they
Pat
lined,
McAfee was there.
yeah, where they lined up. I don't know what that was. Anyways, let's get a quick rundown.
A couple other really good games we talked about. Indiana, Illinois. That was one of the highly touted matchups of the week. The other big one was Oklahoma, Auburn. Everybody really played well except Oklahoma's offensive line. Pretty piss poor effort by them. And then we'll move to Michigan and Nebraska. This will probably be the last game that we cover. Bryce Underwood, a true freshman quarterback for Michigan, pulls out a 30-27 win over Nebraska and Dylan Raiola. Matt Rule, former coach of Temple and formerly of the Carolina Panthers, my favorite team.
And Baylor.
Thank you. That's the one I was missing. And we're looking at a Bryce Underwood here, who's got the potential to take the next step here. In his sophomore season, I'm thinking he could be the next guy. He's obviously slowly progressing. He's obviously getting some good reps and not putting up star numbers yet. He's not going to be getting a Heisman like Manziel or any of those guys. But we talk about sophomore seasons a lot. You talk about Jaden Daniels. Struggling kind of with Arizona State after his sophomore season when he was a true freshman there, and then he moved over to LSU where he just tore it up. And we talk about Nico from Tennessee. Now he's at UCLA where he had the really good first year, and then he moved over to UCLA and now he's struggling. So I'm interested to see how Bryce Underwood finishes this year, how he progresses towards the end of the year, and what that looks like for them at next year, because I don't think this is the year for them to win the national championship, but it's fun watching Bryce Underwood play, and it was certainly a good win for the Wolverines against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Brody, you got something?
Yeah, I'll touch real quickly on Oklahoma, Auburn. So obviously Jackson Arnold facing former team, some tough blood there. Nobody was really nice to Jackson Arnold when he was at Oklahoma. 5-star talent. Never really came through. It's a combination of Venables and the scheme and Jackson Arnold. But two things. The play that everybody's talking about, the illegal play that basically cost Auburn the game. I'll say that if I'm watching that, I don't think it's illegal, right? I've seen people do that before. I've seen a little fake before. You go to the sideline, but you don't go off. It's just literally the defense has to pay attention, right? However, it is illegal. It is in the rule book. SEC came out and stated it, and that they missed the call. So you can whine about it all you want from both sides and say, well, it's not illegal. Or you can say, well, it's illegal. It happened. You can't go back and fix it. However, in the future, it is, right? And it is now seen as a cheap move. Just like Kenny Pickett's fake slide that was glorious in the time, argue with the wall. Sorry. Now it's illegal, so if somebody did it, yeah, I'd complain. But I'm not even a Kenny Pickett fan. It was awesome. He did something that wasn't written down. But a huge missed call there. And then very sadly, John Mateer, we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks here with surgery on the thumb. So that's not good for anybody because he's absolutely lighting it up, becoming a Heisman favorite. And he's also, you got the Red River Showdown coming up. Nobody wants that. I don't want to see Arch Manning flexing on, Sam Houston State players anymore. I guess that's all he can do it against. Right? So we'll see. But anyways, that's a tough blow for Oklahoma. And then Bryce Underwood, nothing really to say. He would be a lot better at LSU. That's all I'm going to say. His choice. Handoff merchant. Go for it. Yeah.
Yes. So we're talking about you're talking about LSU here. Next week we got some tough games, and usually we don't talk about the games prior before the week. But we got Oregon, Penn State, Georgia, Bama, and LSU versus Ole Miss. Which is your highly touted game of the week? Which one are you most excited to watch?
So I'm most excited to watch, obviously, LSU, Ole Miss. The news just broke that Whit Weeks, absolute dog star linebacker for LSU, is dating Lane Kiffin's daughter. Lane Kiffin, not a huge fan, but he does have personality enough to come and tweet and say, bet the over. So that was a fun little jab. I'm sure that's fun, and I'm sure he knew about it. But either way, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a great game because you have Ole Miss kind of unproven offensive. They've already changed quarterbacks. One is seemingly working out better than the other. You have an elite LSU defense thus far through the games that they played. So we'll see if that holds up. But I will say, I think the game I'm most excited to see the results of is without a doubt Penn State, Oregon. Huge matchup. I just dogged on Penn State last week, and I want that to hold up, right? And I honestly want Penn State to prove me wrong. I want them to pull out a huge win. It's like, okay, you have earned your keep, right? I don't think that's the case. I think Oregon's going to win. Once again, could be wrong. Just from what I've seen from Oregon, high power offense, really good defense, and Penn State. Drew Aller's top target is still a tight end. So I'll have to say about that. What do you think, Alex? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm excited for Oregon Penn State. That's my game. A lot of people, there's going to be a lot of big players in here, a lot of probably draft experts, analyzers coming from NFL teams. But I think this is a game of head coaches. Brody talked last week about Penn State and his disdain for the team. I talked about Oregon and my affection towards Dan Lanning and how strong of a coach I think he is. James Franklin, while Brody is not a fan, does know how to recruit the hell out of some players. I don't know how well of a coach he is. I don't think we've witnessed how well his coaching is because his players can either just do it for him. You look at a lot of the talent that he brings in. This will be a big game to kind of figure out who's top dog, because I think Ohio State will likely stay 1, but whoever wins this game will be 2, ranked number 2. And again, we still really don't give a shit about rankings, but it's still something of note. Georgia-Bama will be a good game. I think Georgia will probably win by 2 touchdowns. Maybe, I don't know. The game against Tennessee last week kind of proved that they have that dog in them, literally, because they're the Bulldogs. But I still don't feel good about Bama after the loss to Florida State. They've rallied. They've played well the past couple of weeks. They've put up some points against the teams that they should put up points against. But regardless, I don't know exactly how well I feel about them. I think this will be a good test for Bama to see how well they will play, because Florida State obviously is now ranked. But I'm most excited for... Okay.
No, you go ahead. Most excited.
Yeah, but I'm obviously most excited for Oregon Penn State, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how the tides turn.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take Bama. I am. I think it's ready to stop underestimating them as a Alabama hater, a fearful opponent of Alabama. Really bad week 1 showing, but they've looked great ever since, especially Ty Simpson. He's looked elite against very low-level competition. However, he's looked good in every moment that he's supposed to look good since week 1. So I'm going to go ahead and take them over Gunnar Stockton and kind of a newly revamped, both sides, honestly, newly revamped. Both have really good weapons. Ryan Williams, monster game last week. So I'm going to pick Bama. I'm going to go LSU, obviously. Come on, boys, don't let me down. And I think I'm going to take Oregon. So who are you taking out of those?
I'll take Oregon. I'll take Georgia, and I'll take two. I do want to take Ole Miss. It's funny. We talked about we're going to start with Jackson Dart. We're going to end our football conversation with Ole Miss. Historically, Ole Miss quarterbacks are some of the best college quarterbacks of all time. Chad Kelly, which is such a weird name to say. It's like a decade ago. Matt Corral.
5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Obviously, Jackson Dart. I think I'm missing a guy from the last couple of years.
No, they've had some guys. The thing with Ole Miss is they've had some guys that have filled the part really well. But Matt Corral, to be honest, was the guy that came in and was like, oh, Matt Corral, like he's especially his last year, forced to be reckoned with, right? They were very similar to LSU's 2000s, where it's everything around them is good. You got running backs, you got guys really carrying out the heavy pay toll, but you got like Zach Mettenberger for LSU at quarterback. You got guys like that. They fill the role. They do exactly what they needed to do. But now you're expecting to, like, Ole Miss is this program now where you want the 5-star quarterback, you want the 4 stars immediately. You want that play caller.
Yeah, and I think about Ole Miss historically has had over the last decade or half decade top end quarterback play. But then they go to the NFL and they struggle. I think LSU's defense, Alabama's defense, Georgia's defense, high-end SEC defenses are the closest thing to NFL football, in my opinion, for opposing offenses. So we'll see exactly what Lane Kiffin's got dialed up for the boys at in Louisiana.
Yes, sir. And let's go ahead and, unfortunately, let's switch over to baseball. I say unfortunately because Alex and myself both have underwhelming teams that at the end of the season, okay, there's hope for my team. Well, you're about 100 games too late. So, you know what stinks? I'll touch on the Orioles real quick. So the Orioles, I expect big things next year. There's probably going to be a coaching change, as there's yeah. So manager, I don't think he's a current solution. Maybe, but I thought Brandon Hyde being fired that early in the season was kind of crazy. But It's a business. And like I said, about 100 games too late. A lot of potential injuries, zero pitching. It all added up. But yeah, just looking forward to a new start of the season. But I am looking forward to some playoff ball. So Alex is a mastermind at baseball. Now, I love baseball. I played baseball for 9 years. It's the best sport ever created. I might not make it my personality as much as I did whenever I was a kid, but I love baseball. However, this man that I'm staring across is a genius when it comes to baseball. Somebody needs to hire him as a GM, a bench coach, third base coach, whatever you want to. Get him on the field.
I throw killer BP.
Get
I'm
him on the
dead
field.
Serious. You want 70 grooved right down the middle? I mean, I do it every time, actually.
So I think MLB, you have your new All-Star Game home run derby pitcher.
Yeah. So we're talking about baseball here. Obviously, Brody's an Orioles fan. His manager was fired. My manager was fired. Brandon Hyde for him. Davey Martinez for me. Unfortunately, Mike Elias still has a job for you guys. Mike Rizzo, my GM, got fired, president of baseball ops. I was devastated. I'm a huge Mike Rizzo fan. He is part of the reason that the Nationals traded Juan Soto, which was widely considered a horrible trade at the time, but it was a Herschel Walker-like return for the superstar. James Wood, best left fielder in baseball to me, obviously biased. C.J. Abrams, above average shortstop. Mackenzie Gore, above average lefty starting pitcher. Harleen Susanna is going to be either our closer in a couple years or a front runner ace. I don't know if you've ever seen Harleen Susanna pitch. He's one of our top 100 prospects in baseball. 260 at 18. That was a couple years ago. Tops out at 104. So I'm super excited to see him play. We got Robert Hassel in the trade. He just made his big league debut, with former top 100 prospect. And we drafted a couple guys. Dylan Cruz. Brody, obviously being an LSU fan, is a big fan of Dylan Cruz. So the Nationals are struggling, but hopefully we can right the ship, sign or hire a good GM. I'm available. I'm getting out of college soon, guys. And yeah, but the main reason we're bringing it up today is playoff baseball is starting soon. But we just got news over the last 24 hours that the ABS system is going to be installed in the 2026 season for baseball. For those who don't know, ABS stands for Automated Ball Strike System, or All Automated Ball System. It is going to basically mean robot umpires. Umpires will still be on the field. They will still make calls. However, they will not make all the calls. Each team will get 3 challenges a game, or 2, depends on how that they want to mandate that. But otherwise, umpires are still just the same. And whenever a player wants to challenge, which is a tap on the helmet, or a pitcher or a catcher can do the same, it's got to be within the first second of the ball being received by the catcher. And then on the big screen in the stadium, you'll get the new call. I'm personally a fan of this. I've been tired of umpires ruining games for a while. I think umpiring is an incredibly difficult job that people don't get enough credit for. But I think the reason that I really like it is there's now strategy. I've got 3 in a game, or I've got 2 in a game. I don't know exactly how many they're going to do. It's a 3-1 count, and you're really iffy on it, and you think it's a ball. Do you take it as the player, as the batter? It's a really hard decision. What are you going to do? There's a whole lot more strategy into it, and it involves more than just the manager in that strategy. So as a fan, as a strategist, as somebody who likes picking the game apart, looking at stats, looking at how things are received and taken, I think this is an incredible decision for Major League Baseball to do, and they've been doing it in the minor leagues this entire year, and they did it during some of spring training, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm a big fan. I can't wait to see it next year, and can't wait to see some playoff baseball at the end of this year, Brody. You got any hot takes there?
Yeah, I do. One thing on the ABS, it's very, like Alex said, I think we're 2 devoted baseball fans, watch baseball our whole life. When I first heard the idea of it, I'm like, what? Like, you can't take the ump out of the game. That's part of the game. Love it or hate it. That's baseball. However, after now, years in the future now, talking to where they're actually adding it, and they've really come up with like a strategic way to do it, I agree. I think it can be helpful, and I think it's really cool because everybody has those calls. Starting with Angel behind the home plate, like you have these calls that everybody just hates with their whole heart. And like, if I could just one pitch, if I could just change that pitch, now you can, right? And you said 2 or 3, right? Depending on how they go about it. they are going to have to, strategize it because, like you said, is this the time to use it? So it's all about strategy now, and I think it's great because they're not going to overdo it, right? You get a certain amount, kind of like challenges in football, right? So I think I'm looking forward to see how this plays out. I'm glad the umps are still in the game, obviously. It's the human effort. And then as far as baseball, all I have to say is I wish I was more excited as an Orioles fan, but I'm excited. And I have to say one thing, man. The Tigers. Holy moly, dude. What a choke job. And you have Screwball on the mound, and, I mean, he's hitting guys in the face. Now, obviously an accident, but holy moly, dude, what is going on? I do know that the Guardians, they cooked up their A game over the last 2 weeks.
I'm excited about this upcoming postseason. For the first time in a while, there's quite a bit of parity. Lots of teams can win. And baseball, the reason baseball is so it's a double-edged sword. When the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks went to the World Series a couple years ago, nobody was happy, except baseball purists. Everybody wants to see big market teams, big spenders, big players. And not to say that the Diamondbacks or the Rangers don't possess either of them. In fact, the Rangers, who ended up winning the series, spent $325 million on Corey Seager, spent $175 million on Semien, went and traded for Max Scherzer, who was far past his prime, but my personal favorite player, by the way. And they went and put the money in for DeGrom. But Arizona wasn't a big market team. This is one of those years where it feels like it's anybody's game. And with baseball, regardless if you're a 110-win team, you still manage to lose 52 times. It's not like football. When you go 15-2, it's kind of a shocker when you lose in the playoffs. So there's a lot of teams that I think have got the sauce. And I'm looking forward to the postseason. You got a prediction? You got a World Series winner here?
I don't know. I think, like you said, it's a real toss-up. So I'm going to need to see more before I make a prediction because obviously you have teams like the Yankees. The Yankees somehow still in it. Makes me sick to my stomach. It's a different Yankees team than years past, right? Of course, they haven't been able to really grab the pennant for a while now, but they've been close.
They grabbed the pennant last year.
No, they didn't win.
The pennant is the championship series.
No. The pennant is like when you win the pennant, you win the World Series.
No, you don't. You win your league.
Let's look it up. So I'm gonna kill myself. Hey, I got my knowledge, but yeah, that was a mess up. Either way, so what the Yankees, they've been close to grabbing the World Series, but it hasn't pulled off. However, they're a dangerous team. The Guardians, a dangerous team, right? Especially a team that is now on a hot streak. That's what I look for coming into the playoffs. You want teams that are on a hot streak. And when you get to the playoffs, it's a clean slate. But I'm going to make a bold choice. I'm going to stick with the Guardians, man. I think they're a fiery team. I think Stephen Kwan is a dog. They just have, I don't know, they're a scrappy team. That's a scrappy team. I'm saying guys that just know how to play ball. They hit the gun on base, score runs. Something the Yankees don't always do the best at, right? Everybody wants to see Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, the long balls, the big games. Part of my philosophy in baseball, and I've always loved this, and this comes out when you're looking at some of my favorite players, when you look at like guys like Ichiro, when you have Cal Ripken, when you have Nick Markakis, some of my favorite players throughout history of baseball, and they just hit the ball, right? They play ball. Alex knows this. They're good all around. That's what I look for in a baseball player, and I think the Guardians have that. I'm really excited for some playoff baseball, man. Nothing is better than October. So yeah, give me your prediction, or if you have one at this point.
Gambling. He's been suspended indefinitely because of the gambling.
Nice.
However, Austin Hedges, he's a phenomenal closer. Austin Hedges said, inning for inning, he's the best pitcher in baseball. He had a 1 ERA last year, literally like a 1. So, do you want me to ask that question again?
Just stay, obviously with his absence.
I'll just, I'll
ask you.
Okay.
So, Alex, speaking on the Guardians, Emmanuel Clase out for gambling, right? You said, so how does that affect them? Obviously, as you can talk about a good replacement, how does that affect them?
I look at that team. Obviously, they're on the streak that they are. They've been able to play well. They've got good pieces in that bullpen. Cade Smith has played really well, pitched really well. Gaddis has pitched really well. Starters have kind of come to work. They've allowed, I believe, 28 runs in the last however many games. They're averaging like less than 2 runs a game as a staff right now, which is incredible. I think the bullpen will be fine, only because Emmanuel Clase and the Guardians struggled last year. Emmanuel Clase was the reason, arguably, that they lost in the playoffs. Emmanuel Clase obviously had one of the greatest relief closer seasons in MLB history last year, pitching around a 1 dot, so low ones. But in the playoffs over the past couple of years, he's kind of been non-existent, very hittable. Obviously, he's got the 100-mile-an-hour cutter, tunnels it with a slider, a lot of bite, a lot of sharpness. But I don't know how that's going to impact them, really. If they play the way that they have played and they don't feel the need to dip into their bullpen too soon, then I feel like the arms will have enough energy to continue to go throughout the postseason. It's going to be how the offense plays. You mentioned Steven Kwan. Jose Ramirez is the engine of that team. He's the motor. I'm really interested to see how those guys do. Lane Thomas is out for the year, formerly of the Nationals. I believe foot surgery. I remember he had a big grand slam last year against Tarek Skubal, former Cy Young. So it'll be interesting. I'm really fascinated to see how the Guardians will do. Unfortunately, I do think Dodgers are front runners. I don't love the Dodgers this year though. Just postseason pedigree. The idea of Shohei being able to pitch in the playoffs is enticing for me. And what they're going to be able to do with Glasnow and Kershaw, because I think that what they're going to do is start Kershaw or start Glasnow and flip-flop. So Kershaw might open the game for 3 2/3 innings, go through the lineup once, go through the starting lineup the second time, and let Glasnow take the rest of the game. And I think that's really strong strategy. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Emmett Sheehan's been playing pretty well. A lot of good arms on that team. Bullpen obviously has been lackluster this year. Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, Blake Trinan, all up and down. Michael Kopech, but when they're playing well, they're doing it. So hopefully that they can get in shape for the playoffs. But
Sorry, real quick, I'm gonna cut in. Kenny's cutting in. Sorry. So what you just mentioned, you just named basically 4 Cy Young caliber players. And this isn't even all their pitching staff, and they've also dealt with injuries. This is the problem with my team, Alex's team, other teams around the league that suffer from pitching. The Dodgers, obviously with money, have built themselves depth, and that's what's going to get teams through the playoff. So you have teams that really just rely on 2 aces, right? Maybe they rely on powerhouse offenses. The teams that are going to make it far are what we talked about with the Guardians, the bullpen, okay? No team wins without a bullpen. That's my personal opinion. And that's my personal opinion after watching Felix Bautista come back out for the year again. Yennier Cano, dog cheeks, absolutely sucks. There's just, you know what I'm saying? You need to have the depth. You need to have the bullpen. But the starting pitching, the fact that you have Yamamoto, who has been as close as you can get to a no-hitter this season as you can get, Clayton Kershaw, even at the ripe age of 36, 37 now, he's still showing flashes of classic Clayton Kershaw, right? And I'm absolutely happy for him. I love Clayton Kershaw. He's been my entire childhood. He's one of those Mike Trout type players that you've watched. One of these guys that's consistently been awesome, 3-time Cy Young winner. So, bottom line, you have Glasnow, Snell, these guys that you named. I just want to point out how important pitching is. And even though the Dodgers have been through some ugly games this year, maybe some times where they haven't lived up to, once again, the money, the payroll that they have had, as you know, they still are able to pull it out because of the pitching. They've set themselves up. And I think that's a good baseball program. I think that's just what a good baseball team does. So once again, tying it a little bit back to what the Orioles didn't have this year, watching my team, but it's something that every team has to have. So the Dodgers, who knows? With that pitching staff, I could see them going all the way back to the World Series. So who knows?
Yeah, I completely disagree. Starting pitching is by far the most important.
I don't know. Okay, here, I'll rebuttal real quick. I will say starting pitching, absolutely, right? We'll talk about the Orioles. You lose Corbin Burns, okay? Tore it. What, he Tommy John this year anyways. But you lose Corbin Burns, Grayson Rodriguez, who's supposed to be the Orioles' new ace, right? We know he has the talent. I don't know if he can carry the whole workload by himself. Now we have Cade Povich, Okay, he's shown a little bit of what he can. I just think it was one of those where they rushed him up. Trevor Rogers, absolute dog out of nowhere, a little too late though. And then I just feel like there's just been some mid performances from the Orioles, obviously pitching wise, but they have still managed to, let's say, give up 2 runs or less, right? That's good baseball. You should be able to score, especially looking at a team like the Orioles. That roster should be able to score more than 2 runs consistently. And they haven't. And guess what? Whenever we do, bullpen blows up. Okay? Massive diarrhea all over the place. It's just, I will say, final point, bullpen is just as important as starting pitching. I will leave it at that.
Yeah, so in regular season baseball, maybe. In postseason baseball, pitchers go 120, 130 pitches. You as a LSU fan, got to see Paul Skeens toe the rubber for the Tigers in the College World Series the year they won and throw 130 pitches and realize, okay, those guys, he's going to carry the team. Of course, the bullpen's important. Obviously, having the right guy to go to after is the important thing. Bridging to a closer is important, obviously, 100%. I care more about the guy who's going to pitch the 7 innings prior, 8 innings prior. But it could be 6, it could be 3. Who cares? That's going to set the tone for the game, and maybe put the hitters on the opposing team in their place. Kind of show them, you guys don't have a chance today. Show them that like, you can't hit us. We're too good. Diminish how they feel. I think starting pitching is so much more important in the playoffs. Pitching, starting pitchers go 30 pitches more than their usual leash in the regular season. I think about past teams. I think about any Randy Johnson-led team, any Kurt Schilling-led team, any Pedro Martinez-led team. The game in 2004 when Pedro Martinez struggled against the Yankees, it was kind of a death sentence. They didn't do well. You think about, there's a perfect one for my team. Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin. Those are the guys. We won, and I will die on this hill that Astros team is one of the greatest baseball teams of all time.
Yeah, not a doubt.
Thus, the starting pitching was life-saving for us. Our offense did fantastic job as well, but the starting pitching, Strasburg won World Series MVP. Think about how Game 7 happened. Strasburg went 8 2/3 innings in Game 6 to get us there. Scherzer started Game 7 against Zach Greinke, by the way. And Patrick Corbin came into relief with Daniel Hudson, our closer, coming in to finish it out. I've always been a fan of starting pitching being the reason that you win, which is why I think my dark horse candidate, and I've obviously been on this topic for a while, is the Mariners. I think the Mariners by far have the best rotation.
And the hitting as well, obviously.
The hitting is very lackluster, candidly, but
it's going to get it done, though. Like, that's a team where, like you wait, that's a team that you said. If you have the average, what's the team average? Do you know? Is that like a stat that you have? Okay. Obviously, Cal Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina. Monster season, obviously. Okay, I'll agree with you. I wouldn't say it's powerhouse, but I do think, as you said, if they have good pitching, how much power do you need? Tell me, is there a balance in your mind? What does the balance have to be? Are you taking pitching over hitting, or a team that hits and can sort of close out games? You know what I'm saying here?
Pitching.
Yeah. So if they have a good rotation, do you think the Mariners can get it done?
So the Mariners have the best rotation in baseball to me.
Okay.
Cal Raleigh is the MVP. Might be the MVP, but at the end of the day, in playoff baseball, and I want Cal Raleigh to show up, and I want Julio Rodriguez to show up, and I want Randy Arozarena to show up. The reason why playoff starting pitching is so important is, to me, those are the 3 most dangerous hitters on the Mariners, all of which have severe strikeout problems. Raleigh hits nukes, switch hitter. I mean, absolute. He's a walking bomb at the plate. He also strikes out a lot. So does J-Rod. So does Randy Arozarena. Randy Arozarena strikes out a ton. So
he invented the strikeout. I don't know if you knew that. He invented it in his last couple of seasons at the Rays, but I watched him build it. He strategically built the strikeout plan and carried it through. So
yeah, the golden sombrero.
woo. So quick, so we'll get going here, but I want to say one more thing. I totally agree. I think starting pitching in the playoffs. I'm not giving up on the bullpen though, because as somebody who has watched horrible bullpen play, and I'm sure you have too with the Nats. But I'm going to counter here also with, we bring it back to LSU. You said Paul Skeens. It goes hand in hand. Here, Paul Skeens, everyone is scared for their life when Paul Skeens stepped on the field. He was literally an MLB pitcher, as we see now, on a college field. So he's striking everybody out. He's doing all he can. Epic game against Wake Forest that year. That came down to the wire because of his pitching and lackluster hitting. So absolutely, starting pitching. Then I'll draw it to the national championship. We're playing Florida. And if you had watched that series, epic series as far as game 1, close, game 2, LSU gets blown out, game 3, LSU blows out Florida. Awesome. A point in that game, you see Paul Skeens warming up in the bullpen just to say, hey, we have this guy if we need him. If we need him to come in for an inning, right? In case something gets bad, because the bullpen let up a little bit, but I think it was because the lead was so big. So it does show the starting pitching, absolutely, and starting pitching at any point of the game. Although I'm not a huge fan of bringing in a starter, I think it gets them out of their rhythm. I don't think they're ready for it. There's been a lot of instances, starting with Ubaldo Jimenez against the Blue Jays. Rip that out of my mind. But you got to look at Cade Anderson this year for LSU, Anthony Ianson, couple of dogs, closed it out. Hey, man, it's LSU baseball. I got to talk about it. Anyways, couple of dogs, but you take those games where Cade Anderson is pitching against Coastal Carolina. You have what? It was like a 3-2 ball game, something really close. You got to look to the bullpen. Who's going to close out the game, right? And LSU had a closer that could pitch upwards of 100, right? So hand in hand, both very important. I agree with your points. I'll stand on business. I'm riding with the bullpen always. So, all right. Quickly, a lot of movies hitting the theaters. The summer of movies is continuing even after summer. Although one of the most exciting films of this fall looks to be the movie Him, which is a Jordan Peele produced movie, basically a horror football movie about the precautions and results of CTE. So it's getting terrible reviews, and which is shocking because anything associated with Jordan Peele is usually really high. I don't necessarily agree with all of them. I think 3/4 of all 3 of his movies he's made, which is Nope, Us, and Get Out, 3/4 of the movie, brilliant, really eerie, creepy. The last half sucks. So that's my personal opinion, although I would say Get Out is the best one he's made. Nope, you could fall asleep to. I know they all have different messages, and they're all very prevalent. They just don't always come across. So Alex hasn't seen a Jordan Peele movie. So your mission, throw one of them on, man. Let me know what you think. Do it. As a movie fan, you have to watch these movies.
I'm a movie fan. I'm not a horror fan. Do you want to actually hear a fun fact, though? Actually,
they're not scary though. I promise. They're not scary.
No. Yeah, sure. You know what this movie's actually named after?
What's up?
Me.
Okay. Yep, and that's where Alex is deleted from existence. Superman just hit HBO Max. Catch me watching Superman. Murder. Anyways, all right, cool. So yeah, we'll hit some stuff next week. Stay tuned for every Friday. We're gonna have a podcast put out on YouTube, Spotify. There will be following reels on Instagram and TikTok. Go ahead and give us our theme song out of here.
Where's the dog?
All right. Phenomenal movie. Love Superman. By the way, you tell me you hear that and you don't think that is peak Superman?
No, I think I trust me, I think that is one of the best soundtracks ever. I just love Hans Zimmer's soundtrack so bad.
I think it is great, and I think they're both great.
All right, guys, this has been the Starting Two podcast. I'm Alex Desai.
I'm Brody Minnick.
And as always, Clemson sucks. We'll see you.
Clemson sucks.
Peace.
Woo! Horns down. But